Hello. Welcome to the 2022 Leo Lovelace Anime Awards. We'll pretend the last 8 minutes didn't happen, and I'm just greeting you for the first time now. I didn't see any no audio messages during that, so I'm assuming we're fine, and we should hopefully be fine moving forwards. I probably jinxed myself, but we'll see. Ooh. Sir Ligma. I like that name. All good so far. I am very glad to hear that. Okay. So, let's just jump into it. I'm gonna, like I said, fingers crossed nothing else happens. This is technically my 5th year doing an award show now. I know that probably doesn't make sense, given this channel is about a week old. But in a past life, in a different place, perhaps there have been 4 other iterations of anime awards. Which makes this the 5-year anniversary. Big, big one. Pats on back. And fitting for it to be a 5th year anniversary, I think this past year was by far, the best out of all of the years that I've been watching seasonal stuff. Just absolutely amazing. A golden age, if you will. I don't know if people care about numbers. I like numbers. I'm a scientist. But this has been my average rating for the stuff I watched the last 5 years. I usually hover around like a 70, but this year was such a massive jump. I mean, it's been going up every year, but this year was a huge, huge jump compared to all the previous years. So, needless to say, it was just brutal for me to pick winners, and even before the winners, just narrowing it down, I picked 6 nominees for every category. Just narrowing it down to 6 was so hard for some of these. And then actually picking a winner? Yikes. This year was great. Good year of anime for sure, yes. I'm glad people agree with me. Will we ever get a year as good as 2022? I don't know. I mean, 2023 is off to a pretty good start. A lot of big name sequels coming out. The new shows are pretty good. Granted, I haven't kept up with a ton of the new stuff because I've been so preoccupied with working on this. I actually didn't even finish my little slideshow here and all of the edited stuff until about 5 to 10 minutes before the stream was supposed to start, and then we had our half hour of technical stuff. So I cut it pretty close. But we're just gonna hope that everything is fine now. For the current stuff, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for the rest of the year. They probably still haven't even announced a bunch of stuff that's going to come out in the summer and fall. So, if you have seen my awards in another place in another life, then you probably already know how the format is. If not, same format as previous years. We have 30 categories. Those categories are split into 5 sections: genre, character, music, production, and overall. And this year, since it's the 5-year anniversary, very big one, I'm going to also show what won the previous years, so we can see and reminisce a bit on the good stuff that came before what was the best year of anime since I started watching anime. I like how you can clearly see when I take a sip of water. Tilts his head back, gets the mouth open. Yeah, so, like I said, same format for people who are used to it. If you're new to it, now you know. Rules. Nobody likes to talk about the rules, but it is important so that we're all on the same page about what can and cannot be nominated and win stuff. So obviously, it had to have aired in 2022. If it did not, it would not be eligible for a 2022 award show. Go figure. That's quite the logic. 2021 leftovers are eligible. What that means is if a show started in the fall of 2021 and didn't finish until winter of 2022, like, for example, Ranking of Kings or 86 Part 2, those are still eligible because they didn't end until a month or two into 2022. If it's currently airing and it started in 2022, it is not eligible. So, The Eminence in Shadow, Urusei Yatsura, neither of those are eligible because they started in the fall and they're still airing into this winter. Movies are eligible if they became online with English subtitles in the past year. That could mean it released in theaters in the West with English subtitles. It could have had an official English Blu-ray release. It could have gotten posted online in a few Yarhar Fiddle-Dee-Doo, Sail the Seven Seas. If you can find it that way, it's also eligible. The point is, it just had to be in English, and it had to come out in the last year or so. Movies are not eligible for art and animation, because I feel like it's unfair to pit those against TV series, which is mostly what I watch. But they are eligible for everything else. If an anime has won an award in the past, it can't win it again for most awards. There are exceptions. For example, like OST track. If there's a new track that's really good, it could win again. It could win sequel again. It could win like opening or ending again. It's pretty much all the music stuff it could win again. But a specific character can't win again. It can't win a genre again. It can't win like best art again. It can win best sequel again. You'll definitely see that later on in the awards. But just of note, if you get to, say, Best Romance and wonder why Kaguya Season 3 isn't nominated, and think that I'm just an idiot and don't know anything about what I'm talking about and dislike bomb me and tell me I'm stupid, no, it's because I already had it win in the past, and I don't want to have it win again. Most importantly, they are my awards, so it's what I like the most. I am a little bit objective, but how much I personally enjoyed watching something and all of my personal biases will definitely play a role in this. And if you're part of VOD Gang, like I said, I will try and cut out these first 8.5 technical difficulty minutes. But I'll also I'll add a comment with all of the timestamps for each award. So if you're only interested in like 5 or 6 things, you can just go right to it. I think that does it for rules and just general stuff. Which means we can jump into the awards. Award time, let's go! Finally. 55 minutes later than I planned on. But one of my friends said you should call me Leo Lovelace, because I can never get anything done on time. And that's accurate. I'm perpetually late to everything, and I'm late to my biggest personal project of the year because of technical difficulties and falling behind schedule and all that. But we're here, and it's working now, so that's what counts. Alright, awards. Start off with genre. How can you not start with genre? And you have to start with best action if we're starting with genre. I was thinking about this earlier. I feel like action is probably the most popular genre, not just in anime, but just in general. Like action video games, action movies. I feel like most of the popular, well-known anime across like the wider spectrum of people are also action, and a lot of shonen. So, always a big genre. Past couple years, these have been what I had win Best Action. Attack on Titan, which is not even an action series anymore, if you ask me. But if it were, it would mean it can't get nominated again. Mob Psycho won in 2019, which means Mob Psycho Season 3, which just came out and was very good, is also not eligible. Fate Babylonia in 2020. Great series. I am the biggest FGO stan I know. Okabe in chat is the one who got me into it. I believe he expressed regret at some point for getting me into it because of how deep into it I got in certain ways. But I'm glad I'm into it now. And last year, Jujutsu Kaisen won. Which means Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, also not eligible. So actually, all of these series had sequels in this past year that are not eligible because of that. With that being said, why don't we find out what the nominees and winners are? I am praying with every fiber of my being right now that when I click on this action thing and it plays the video, there's audio. Because if there's not, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be good. Okay, let's just find out. Here we go. Here are the nominees for Best Action. Chainsaw Man, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc, Engage Kiss, Licorice Recoil, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, and the winner of Best Action is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Taking the well-deserved first award of the night, Studio Trigger's gory yet vibrant depiction of Night City starts off with a bang and doesn't let up until the final credits roll. Trigger's typical high-quality dynamic action animation is on full display here, and it's further accentuated by what the world of Cyberpunk offers. Body augmentations allow for all sorts of spins on what would otherwise be standard fights, ranging from slowing down and speeding up time, feinting and dodging, turning their bodies into weapons, hacking into things to turn the tide of battle, and more. Combine these with spectacular set pieces like high-speed car chases, storming enemy hideouts, or making last stands against seemingly insurmountable odds, and you have a series teeming with chaotic and engaging action that makes it near impossible to look away from the insanity unfolding on screen. Between Trigger's fluid animation and the continuously rising stakes of Edgerunner's story that pump out increasingly intense action scenes, this series is a must-watch for fans of action. Audio works, thank you. I am glad to hear it. Still have to watch Cyberpunk, but I heard good things about it. It's definitely worth watching. For a lot of different reasons. Probably not the first time that you'll see Cyberpunk get nominated. Probably not the first time you'll see it win something. I cry every time. Me too. Yes, Cyberpunk Edgerunners wins Best Action and takes the first award. I know, because I have all of this pre-recorded for the explanations, I probably won't be adding a whole lot after each one, but I might have occasional comments here or there. I did mention that I'm a big fan of Trigger in the past, so I'm always looking forward to new stuff they do, other than like the SSS Gridman stuff. For whatever reason, I just have not been able to get into that. But Cyberpunk, I feel like kind of just shadow dropped. Like, it had one trailer, or it didn't shadow drop. I mean, it was announced a while in advance. But I feel like nobody was talking about it. And then they dropped a trailer like a week and a half before it came out that just blew up. And everybody binged it that first week. I mean, so it was fun because everybody watched it at like the same time. It wasn't this weekly one episode drip feed. Everybody got to binge it, and I don't normally like the Netflix binge drop model, but I think it worked for Cyberpunk. I'm surprised how well it's lasted in just anime discussion these past few months, even past that first couple weeks. Favorite action scene in Cyberpunk? There's a lot of good ones. I think the one that comes to mind first is, I want to say it was episode 6. That one where David and Lucy and Maine and Dorio are trying to like hack that guy, and they have the blanking on the name of like the special division cops or whoever it is, but they get called and they make that big last stand inside the building while they're trying to escape. That was a good one. And then a couple episodes later, there was that one where they find like not a mech suit, but like kind of like a mech suit. And like one-man army against... It was a one-man army against like a literal army, basically. That was a good scene. There's a lot of good stuff, though. I think I was kind of expecting people to think, how could you possibly not give it to Demon Slayer? And I would understand, because there's that fight in Demon Slayer that's just incredible towards the end. Blanking on the guy's name. Tengen versus the villain. But I feel like aside from that, and then like Tanjiro versus the Ribbon Lady, Ribbon Demon, whatever her name is, Daki maybe. Aside from those, like there's not a whole lot in the way of bigger memorable fights, but there's just a ton littered throughout Cyberpunk, which is why I ended up picking that. But if you disagree with me, you are welcome to say so in the chat. Definitely always curious to see what other people think, and if there's stuff that I didn't even watch that they would recommend that I try. I have a massive backlog, but I'll keep adding to it. Why not? All right, next award, Best Adventure or Fantasy. I'm a big fan of fantasy stuff in general. I think it's nice to have an escape from the world sometimes. With just go to a fantasy place, meet a bunch of characters of all sorts of different real and mythical races, explore this big new world with all of its own lore. A lot more interesting than just waking up and working your 9 to 5. And I would say my favorite part of adventure stuff is just the world building and all of the unique stuff that they can do in that. Because it's not real, you know, it's literally a whole new world. So I very much skew towards fantasy-related adventures. But that's not to say that non-fantasy ones can still win. You see my previous winners here, Record of Grand Crest War, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Both fantasy. But Astra Lost in Space is a sci-fi. That won in 2019. And in 2020, we had Golden Kamuy win, which is neither sci-fi nor fantasy. Just a more realistic one. I'm still bummed that Season 4 got indefinitely, well, not indefinitely postponed. I think it's coming back in spring. But it was airing earlier in 2022, and then it stopped because I think a staff member who was working on it ended up passing away, which is obviously unfortunate. I can totally see why they would delay it. But it was shaping up to be pretty good. So, let's find out. What wins this award? Here are the nominees for Best Adventure or Fantasy. Danmachi Season 4 Part 1, Dr. Stone Ryusui, Maiden Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun, Overlord 4, Ranking of Kings, Reincarnated as a Sword. And the winner of Best Adventure or Fantasy is Ranking of Kings. One of the many series from 2022 that caught me completely off guard, Ranking of Kings boasts all the hallmarks of a grand adventure set in a fantasy world. A lovable main character who leaves home to go on a journey, an engaging story full of twists, turns, backstabs, and development, a cast that spans characters of all sorts of races and factions, interesting world building that continues to unravel as the story goes on, and beautiful visuals that show off the diversity of the cast and locales that get explored. What starts off with the intention of being a simple errand turns into a massive adventure and life-altering conflict, and the way the series juggles multiple concurrent storylines that intersect in meaningful ways made this adventure all the more interesting. Ranking of Kings excels in combining a personal journey of self-growth, a kingdom on the brink of war, a continually developing cast, and visuals that seem right out of a storybook to craft an epic adventure well worth embarking on. Award number 2. Ranking of Kings takes Best Adventure or Fantasy. So that means Fantasy has now taken 3 out of 5 for me historically. I think Ranking of Kings was kind of like Cyberpunk. There was just not a lot of hype for it at first, and then it just blew up at some point. I know there was some contention around how it ended, which I can understand. I had some thoughts, not necessarily 100% positive about the ending, but I read some comments from the author and I felt like that kind of cleared it up a bit, or just justified it. Has a spin-off series coming out this spring, so I'm looking forward to that. But if you haven't watched Ranking of Kings, and you like adventure or fantasy, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Story and characters are very good. All right. Next genre award. Whoops. I did not mean to switch the scene there. Best comedy or slice of life. If I had to guess, probably the second most popular genre when it comes to anime, comedy. Slice of life is a little more niche, but comedy's very popular. In the past, here are my winners. Grand Blue in 2018. I would still love a second season of that. The manga is great, and it's way ahead of where the anime was. 2019 had Kaguya-sama, so that will not be eligible this year. 2020 was Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. That one's more of a slice of life than a comedy. And My Senpai is Annoying in 2021, another manga that I've read and like. Actually, aside from Eizouken, I read the manga for all of these. All right. Let's just jump in then. Here are the nominees for Best Comedy or Slice of Life. Aharon-san, Bocchi the Rock, My Dress-Up Darling, Romantic Killer, Spy Family, Uncle from Another World. And the winner of Best Comedy or Slice of Life is Bocchi the Rock. Much like the previous award winner, this was another anime that I barely had on my radar in 2022, but ended up absolutely blowing me away. From the very first episode, Bocchi and her quest to form a band had me laughing out loud, even more so thanks to the excellent performance from Yoshino Oyama, whose wide range was able to perfectly represent the ball of anxiety that is Bocchi. Add in the rest of the cast and the dynamics that they all have with each other, the great voice acting performances across the board, the strong and creative directing, the plentiful references, and Cloverworks' expressive character animation, and it all combines to make what I think may be the funniest anime I've watched in years. Comedy and slice of life shows are carried by their cast and writing, and Bocchi the Rock brings these in spades. But even beyond that, the series brings genuine heart to the table in how these characters interact with and care about each other, and that aspect is what truly elevated it for me, especially as someone who also deals with anxiety and who once dreamed of playing in a band when I was in high school. Bocchi the Rock is an incredible series with standout comedy, a fun cast, and excellent production and directing that make it one of the best comedies in years, and one you should absolutely watch. Bocchi the Rock, best comedy or slice of life? I think this and Spy Family were pretty head and shoulders above the rest, if you ask me, but I loved Bocchi. Actually, I remember before the season started, I saw it, I was like, oh, a band show. No, maybe it'll be like K-On! I like K-On! And then I didn't watch the first couple episodes, I saw them get really popular on Reddit. It's like, yeah, I'll try it out. Thank God I did. That was a great show. Bocchi was so good, Bocchi's first win. Yes. Yes. Yeah, speaking of first win, when I was making these awards, there was like 3, maybe 4 anime that I was just like obsessed with. And I really thought that those 3 to 4 anime would sweep these entire awards. And when I was going through and actually picking the winners and whatnot, I was shocked at how spread out it was. Like, this is actually the second most varied the winners have ever been. Like, there's no 1 or 2 shows that just destroyed, like last year where Fruits Basket won like a 5th of the awards by itself. There's none of that this year. So I was pretty happy about that. I always like to see variety. All right. Next we have Best Drama. I was, growing up, I always said drama's boring. Like, you think about drama and you just think people talking and nothing happening. As I've gotten older, I've realized that's not the case. It's a lot more than that. It's very much about character development and seeing how far they come as the story progresses. And wink wink, nudge nudge. My winners for Best Drama in these past 4 years have tended to be my winner for Anime of the Year. Will that happen this year? We'll find out. I'm not going to spoil anything. But 2018, A Place Further Than the Universe, that I believe is my number 5 anime of all time. 2019 had Vinland Saga, that's my number 10 or 9, I want to say. 2020 had the Violet Evergarden side story movie. And 2021 was Fruits Basket, which is also in my top 10. So 3 of these winners for Best Drama have ended up in my top 10 in the long run. Needless to say, I wouldn't say genre is my favorite. I wouldn't say drama is my favorite genre, but it's the one that I end up liking the most for whatever reason. So, my most interested category. Yeah. There were some good dramas this year, that's for sure. Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Drama. Attack on Titan. Bell. The Case Study of Vanitas. Pompo the Cinephile. Ranking of Kings. Raven of the Inner Palace. And the winner of Best Drama is The Case Study of Vanitas. In the past, I've said that what I appreciate most in dramas are well-told stories, strong character writing and development that doesn't succumb to melodrama, and emotional payoffs. Part 2 of Vanitas is an improvement in each of these ways, as it dishes out increased focus on Vanitas, his backstory, and the conflicts he faces. Across the 2 arcs this core covered, different characters are given a chance to shine and further develop, and the strong mystery weaving its way through the story continued to be teased with various big reveals. Though the production is certainly strong all around, It's the story and character writing that make vanitas stand out compared to its peers, with many main and side characters each facing their own internal conflicts they work to resolve in tandem with the main plot. The satisfying climax of the final arc further confirmed that the case study of Vanitas is an excellent drama with a great story and strong characters, and it's a series I'd easily recommend to anyone who appreciates a winding story, meaningful character development, and a heavy dose of mystery throughout it all. Oh, case study of Vanitas, best drama. I felt so bad for Vanitas last year because I nominated it for like 10, 12, maybe even 14 things, and it didn't win a single one of them. Not because it wasn't good, if it wasn't I wouldn't have nominated it, but because everything else it faced, there was like one other thing that would be better than it for each category. I was very torn between Vanitas and Attack on Titan this year. I think both of those were great dramas in terms of character writing and the development that they get. But I ended up giving it to Vanitas. I felt like I was a little more engaged with that than I was with Attack on Titan. Not to say I didn't like Attack on Titan, far from the case. I very much enjoyed Attack on Titan. I've very much enjoyed every season. Vanitas was pretty good, hope it gets another season. Yeah, I would love if it kept getting more seasons. I believe, unfortunately, the anime basically caught up to the manga. So the manga also releases very slowly. Like monthly, maybe? So if it does get another season, it probably won't be anytime soon, which is too bad. I think Bones is the studio who did Vanitas, and I want to say, did Bones also do Noragami? I'm pretty sure they just announced that Noragami is ending the manga. I wouldn't mind if they picked that back up for season 3. It's been like 7 years since season 2. Anyway, Vanitas, very underrated. Not underrated, it's actually pretty accurate if you look at like the AniList and the MyAnimeList stuff. But I feel like I never see people talk about it, so I would definitely recommend it. Best romance. Rom-coms. Who doesn't like a good rom-com? Especially anime fans. Eat that shit up. Past couple years have a mix of actually, I think Kaguya-sama is like the only rom-com I have on here. The other 3 are just more straight up romance drama. Rascal in 2018, I still haven't seen the sequels. Given in 2019, I actually still haven't seen the sequel to that. Kaguya-sama in 2020, so that will not be eligible this year. And Fruits Basket in 2021. I would say Fruits Basket and Clannad are peak romance. But what was the best romance this year, you might ask? Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Romance. Aharon-san. Love After World Domination. My Dress-Up Darling. The Quintessential Quintuplets Movie. Romantic Killer. Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. And the winner of Best Romance is The Quintessential Quintuplets Movie. I may be a little biased because the manga was one of the first series I read weekly, but I really do think the movie was an enjoyable end to a great romance. After 2 seasons of build-up, the movie has each character's individual arcs come to their conclusions while finally giving us the answer we'd all been waiting for. Who was the mysterious bride teased back at the very beginning? The movie did an excellent job building tension up until the reveal of who the winner was, and in my opinion as a manga reader, even enhanced the reveal in some ways. The biggest scenes were even further elevated by a surprisingly strong soundtrack, and it seamlessly wove together comedy, drama, and emotional moments to tell a well-rounded story. Overall, I felt that the Quintessential Quintuplets Movie was a really strong ending to one of my favorite rom-coms, giving us a tense yet exciting build-up to the finale before capping off the story of Futaro and the Quintuplets in a satisfying way. quintessential quintuplets for best romance. Like I said, it was one of the first manga that I actually read weekly. It was so hype doing that week to week and just seeing it drip fed through each of the characters' arcs. Like, oh my god, like the discussions and theories and whatnot online was great to be part of that as it was happening. Movie, I think, was a very good adaptation of it. Sir Ligma, I know you're a big fan of the quintuplets. I don't know if you've actually seen it yet. If not, I hope you are able to soon. I still slightly prefer Season 2 to the movie. Just because the Itsuki arc, I think, in the movie is not quite as strong. But it's still a very, very good movie overall. You're absolutely right about Fruits Basket being peak romance. Yeah. I think what I really liked about Fruits Basket is it's not just Toru and Kyo. Like, it's not just the main couple. There are so many different side couples and other people that get their own development. And I really liked that they spread out the focus like that. Only one genre award left. Best Suspense. This is my personal favorite genre. I love myself a good mystery, a thriller. I used to call this the best mystery or thriller award, but I felt like just grouping it together under suspense probably works. So now it's the Best Suspense Award. Past couple years, these have been the winners. Steins Gate Zero in 2018. Promised Neverland in 2019. We'll pretend the second season never happened and ruined its reputation. ReZero in 2022. And Link Click in 2021. Still patiently waiting for information on Link Click Season 2. I know they announced it. I don't think they've really said anything since then. But who's number 5? Who will be the 5th year anniversary? Best Suspense. Do I look shocked here? It's very suspenseful, finding out what wins Best Suspense. Here are the nominees. Call of the Night. The Case Study of Vanitas. Chainsaw Man. Classroom of the Elite. Made in Abyss. Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Suspense is Summertime Rendering. The first episode kicks off with an intriguing mystery and brutal cliffhanger as main character Shinpei returns home after 2 years to attend the funeral of his childhood friend, only to discover things aren't what they seem. The series only gets better from there, demonstrating an utter mastery of cliffhangers that kept me desperate to find out what happened next, as well as establishing an unsettling tone that permeated everything and kept me on the edge of my seat. It also boasts an excellent protagonist in Shinpei, a great supporting cast of varied characters hiding their own secrets, cunning antagonists, attractive visuals, and audio design that complemented the intrigue and intensity of the show. Summertime Rendering tells a gripping story with a tense atmosphere that had my full attention from beginning to end, and is a series that I'd feel confident calling one of the best thrillers I've ever watched. I feel like the audio in the background of the rendering one to then this chat audio I have is kind of some whiplash. But yes, Summertime Rendering takes the award for Best Suspense. I feel like I was recommending this to basically anybody who would listen. Just, like, right from that first episode, I was like, holy shit, this is good. Painful watching that weekly, though. Just, yeah, so many cliffhangers. That made the weekly grind awful. I ended up, I think I was busy around when it ended. So I had like 3 or 4 episodes that I could just binge at once at the end. So that was kind of nice. I got to skip the cliffhangers at the very end. But for 75% of it, I was a victim. Summertime Rendering caught me off guard in the best way possible. Happy I wasn't spoiled. Yeah, it's very nice that you avoided spoilers. I know you had mentioned wanting to watch it, so avoiding them for so long. And I mean, with the amount of cliffhangers too, and the amount of different like minor mysteries happening between the different characters, all while the main one is going on, like there's so much that you could possibly get spoiled by. That's good. Definitely just go into it blind. Just know it's a good mystery, good cliffhangers, and you won't want to stop watching. But that does it for all the genre awards. So now we move into the characters. Of course, we start off with the protagonist. Head honcho of the story. How could we not start with you? Past couple years, pretty much all people from sequels. Okabe is my #1 protagonist of all time. And he was back in 2018 with Steins Gate Zero. Mob in 2019, so obviously Mob is not eligible this year. I mean, if he was, he definitely would have been nominated though, because Season 3 is peak Mob development. Soma in 2020, I'm a big fan of Food Wars in general. I just think he's really fun. Like, he's not as like deep or interesting as Okabe, Mob, or Eren. I just think he's a lot of fun. And Eren in 2021. I don't even know if you could call him morally gray at this point. He's probably just way too far gone. But he's a good protagonist. It's always fun following him and seeing what he does next. Let's go, Okabe. Yeah, there you are. You made it into the stream. All right. Here are the nominees for Best Protagonist. Anzu Hoshino from Romantic Killer. Bochi from Bochi the Rock. Boji from Ranking of Kings. Chisato Nishikigi from Licorice Recoil. David Martinez from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Shinpei Ajiro from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Protagonist is Boji from Ranking of Kings. Boji, first son of the legendary King Bose, is first in line for the crown when his father passes away. Boji also happens to be deaf, unable to speak, incredibly small, and too weak to hold a sword. And because of his many limitations and disabilities, friends and strangers alike pity him and think the prospect of him becoming the king is a joke. Thus, Boji's journey to become king is one with the odds stacked against him, to put it mildly. But despite all that, Boji himself is a kind-hearted, empathetic, and hardworking boy who still wants to make his dream of becoming king come true. Boji is the ultimate underdog, and it's precisely because of that that it's so easy to root for him. I thought Boji was an immensely lovable protagonist who I wanted to succeed in every one of his dreams, and seeing the adventure he goes on to find confidence in himself and in turn inspire others to support him made me cheer for each one of his successes. He's a protagonist I was glad to go on an adventure with. My boy, Boji, makes it the first show to win its second award. This was a really, really hard one to pick though. Boji, Bochi, and Shinpei. Like, those three. It was just... This was one of the last awards that I was... one of the last awards I was actually able to pick a winner for, because I thought all three of those guys were just so good. I honestly think you could go either way with them, but I picked Boji. Just, who doesn't love a good underdog story, right? Makes it feel even more satisfying when they pull stuff off. But standing opposite the protagonist, always getting in their way, we have the antagonists. Past couple years, these have been the winners of being the worst. Not the worst, you know. Worst in the sense of constantly getting in our way. Kenny from Attack on Titan, Askeladd from Vinland Saga, Askeladd is still my #1 antagonist and just one of my favorite characters in general of all time. Echidna from ReZero, and Sakura from Fate Heaven's Feel. So who, pray tell, is the #5 5th year anniversary antagonist? Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Antagonist. Gyutaro from Demon Slayer, Haine from Summertime Rendering, Majima from Licorice Recoil, Oken from Ranking of Kings, Shide from Summertime Rendering, Suguru Geto from Jujutsu Kaisen 0. And the winner of Best Antagonist is Shide from Summertime Rendering. Shide is nothing short of a menace. From his horrifying first appearance and in every one after that, seeing him appear is always accompanied by a sense of dread. He's intelligent and cunning, often cautious in his approach to dealing with Shinpei and the other leads, as he plans ways to trap them or foil their own plans. And he's monstrously strong on top of that, to the point where engaging him in direct combat is often a death sentence. The fact that no one truly knows who he is or what his endgame is makes him even scarier, as you don't necessarily know what he wants to do, is willing to do, or physically can do, as he manipulates and pushes our leads to their breaking points. Shide is a scary antagonist, and his ominous presence in every scene he appears in makes him truly deserving of the award for Best Antagonist. Shide, which means Summertime Rendering now takes its 2nd award. This guy is, in. Ever since he shows up, or as soon as he shows up, like the next, what is it, like 70-80% of the show is just constantly, you're on edge. You're on edge, the characters are on edge. What the hell is Shide gonna pull next? It's not gonna be fun, whatever it is. I think he plays a big part in why I thought Summertime Rendering was the best suspense show. Having a good antagonist just constantly trying to thwart you every turn while you're trying to survive and solve this mystery, it just added a great layer to it. Him and Haine both, I mean, they're a great duo. Duo antagonists. But the protagonists and the antagonists are not the only characters that we care about. There's the supporting characters. There's a lot of them. So, just for clarification, because I do protagonist rather than main character, that means a main character who is not the protagonist is put under the supporting character section. So for example, Kurisu from Steins Gate would be a supporting character, even though she's a main character. She's technically like a deuteragonist, but I would put her in supporting because she's not the protagonist like Okabe is. With that being said, these are my best supporting characters from the last couple years. Kohei from Grand Blue, Chrome from Dr. Stone, Ishigami from Kaguya-sama, and got tongue-tied, Shigure Soma from Fruits Basket, my toxic king. Never got sick of him just being, I don't want to say menace, because he's not a menace in the same way that Shide is, but that dude is just toxicity personified. I loved it. All right. Here are the nominees for Best Supporting Character. Anya Forger from Spy Family, Despa from Ranking of Kings, Hizuru Minakata from Summertime Rendering, Reigen Arataka from Mob Psycho 100, Ushio Kofune from Summertime Rendering, Vanitas from The Case Study of Vanitas. And the winner of Best Supporting Character is Vanitas from The Case Study of Vanitas. I thought that Vanitas was the most interesting character in Part 1, and Part 2 further reaffirmed this by spending a lot more time developing his character and delving into his backstory. Under his usual loud and boisterous exterior is a complicated and painful past, and understanding where he came from shined light on his current attitude and goals. On top of the backstory fleshing out his past and present, Vanitas Part 2 brought some interesting development for his present and future selves, thanks to his time spent with Noe and Jean. What does Vanitas truly think of the Vampire of the Blue Moon, of vampires in general, of Noe as his companion, and of Jean as his love interest? All these questions and more are explored in Part 2, and they made me even more appreciative of and interested in Vanitas as a character. The case study of Vanitas is full of interesting characters, but Vanitas stands atop them all as the most alluring, and his backstory reveals along with his development in Part 2 made him my favorite supporting character of the year. Three awards in a row. We have a show taking its second. Vanitas gets its second award, or the case study of Vanitas gets its second award, with Vanitas winning the best supporting. I basically clarified the deuteragonist thing because Vanitas is a deuteragonist, but I have him in supporting because I think Noe is technically the protagonist. But yes, Vanitas is a very, very interesting character. Once again, I never see people talking about the show, and I would highly recommend that you watch it. I guess thinking about the other nominees, like YuGiOh, also a deuteragonist. So, I should probably just... I like how I do it. I'll keep doing it like this. Anyway, case in point, watch Vanitas. Good show. We had the protagonists, antagonists, supporting characters. But overall, who is the best cast? The winners the past few years, Golden Kamuy, 2018. I mean, ironically, the cast for Kamuy just gets better every season. So, having it win in its first season, only to get better every season after that, just goes to show how good that cast is. Slime in 2019, I just really like the variety. Great Pretender in 2020, and Fruits Basket in 2021. Fruits Basket as well, one of just the best casts of anime in general, I feel. So who is the best cast this year? Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Cast. Attack on Titan, Bocchi the Rock, The Case Study of Vanitas, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Spy Family, Summertime Rendering, and the winner of Best Cast is Kaguya-sama Love is War. Over the years, the cast of Kaguya has continued to grow, introducing numerous new characters and in turn new dynamics to what was already a fun initial group. On top of that, there's been consistent character development pushing nearly every main character forward. In Season 3, we see just how far everyone has come as new friendships are formed, relationships are progressed, and individuals work to gain confidence in themselves and achieve their goals. Be it Ishigami and Kaguya's friendship, Shirogane and Chika's mentor-student relationship, Hayasaka and Ino's walls slowly breaking down, Ishigami working on himself to stand next to Tsubame, Maki's quick friendship with Shirogane and Ishigami, or the ever-progressing relationship between Kaguya and Shirogane, the variety of relationships and overall sense of camaraderie the characters have with one another makes the series a joy to watch, which ultimately makes the cast of Love is War one of my favorites in not just rom-coms but in anime in general. Kaguya-sama Season 3, finally. After Seasons 1 and 2 not taking home the awards in my awards, it finally does with Season 3. For good reason. I crack myself up every time I look at this picture that I picked for the best cast, Shirogane and Chika as rappers. Lots of great casts this year, yeah, definitely. Another hard one to pick. I mean, I had to give it to Kaguya, just seeing how far they've come, but a lot of the new shows, I mean, Spy Family was great. That main Forger family trio plus Bond plus like Damien and Becky, and there's so many good ones in that. Bochi the Rock, the main characters are all great. Summertime Rendering, that whole cast was great. So definitely protagonist and cast, I think, were the hardest. No, protagonist, cast, and the couple or ship award. Those were the 3 hardest in the character section for me to pick. But it's time to get to the award. The award everybody talks about and argues, and whole contests are made on Reddit for, with thousands and thousands of people participating and voting. It is Best Girl time. Who is Best Girl of 2022? My previous Best Girls: 02, Takemoto, Yui, and Nino. So obviously Nino is not eligible this year. Unfortunately, Nino will never be seen again because her series is done. Actually, all of these series are done. None of them will ever be seen again. Sad days for me. This year, very, very strong lineup. Narrowing it down to 6 was tough. But somebody had to win. So here are the nominees for Best Girl. Anzu Hoshino from Romantic Killer. Desumi Magahara from Love After World Domination. Marine Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling. Takina Inoue from Licorice Recoil. Ushio Kofune from Summertime Rendering. Your Forger from Spy Family. And the winner of Best Girl is Marine Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling. Call this a cop-out pick or call me basic, I don't care. Marine is a legitimately good character and a great female lead. What I like most about Marine, and what I think many of us could learn from her, is how unabashedly passionate she is about her hobbies, regardless of what anyone else thinks. So seeing her find a kindred soul in GYuGiOh, how their relationship subsequently allows her to express her love for her favorite things, and how her pure, unbridled passion rubs off on those around her, made her an incredibly enjoyable character. Add in a cute ship with GYuGiOh, a great character design, expressive character animation, and a phenomenal voice acting performance from Hina Sugata that brings all her passion, teasing, and cute moments to life, and you have all the pieces in place. Marine is a lovable character whose infectious excitement and passion for her hobbies made her a ton of fun to watch and an easy pick for my Best Girl of 2022. Marine. No surprise there. How could you not pick Marine? Well, I could see how you could not pick Marine because there are lots of other great characters. I think out of everybody else who was listed there, Ushio and Yor probably also pretty up there for me. And there was a lot of other good ones that I couldn't even nominate because I had to cut it down to 6. But Marine is very popular with most people who have seen the show and just like anime in general for good reason. I had a feeling it would be Marine. I like her too. She's a lot of fun. Yeah, she definitely is. And there's a season 2 announced, so we will get more Marine in the future. Unlike all my other winners of Best Girl who will never be seen again, Marine will come back. And the manga's still ongoing. I've read ahead a little bit. There's some good stuff coming. But, it's not only about the girls, right? We also have to talk about Best Guy. My previous winners of Best Guy: Sakuta in 2018. I'd have to revisit the 2018 stuff, but I kind of cooled off on that anime in general, so I wouldn't be surprised if I would replace him in hindsight, but I liked him at the time. Haruki from Given in 2019. Gilgamesh in 2020, specifically Caster Gil. Archer Gil is a jerk. And Gojo in 2021. 2021, I'm still like gutted that I couldn't also give an award to Yuki, because I really liked Yuki from Fruits Basket. But like he and Gojo are literally back to back in my top 25 list for best guys. Can't really go wrong either way, but ended up giving it to Gojo. But Who is this year's best guy? Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Guy. Gojo Wakana from My Dress Up Darling. Lloyd Forger from Spy Family. Miyuki Shirogane from Kaguya-sama Love is War. Mob from Mob Psycho 100. Raido Matsuboshi from Aharen-san. Shinpei Ajiro from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Guy is Miyuki Shirogane from Kaguya-sama Love is War. The third season of Love is War proved that Shirogane is, without a doubt, one of the best male leads in rom-coms. Across the dozens of episodes of mind games and slow progress in his plan to make Kaguya confess, Shirogane has undergone massive growth of his own, making long-lasting, genuine friendships and showing just why everyone respects and trusts him as the leader of the student council. Shirogane is a riot to watch thanks to his training arcs with Chika and hilarious reactions to the absurd things he witnesses every day, but even more than that, he's inspiring in how he works through his self-doubt, anxiety, and shortcomings, and he's a guy you can't help but root for every step of the way as he continues to develop into the character he is today. I'm not exaggerating in the slightest when I say that Shirogane is one of my best leads and best guys of all time. Shirogane from Kaguya. He is also in my top 10 of all time. I believe he might even be top 5. I'd have to double check my list. I think he might be, actually. Shirogane, Tomoya from Clannad, Okabe from Steins Gate, and Ishigami might be top 5, to be honest. But Shirogane, great lead, great guy, very entertaining. Just, you really can't go wrong with Shirogane. But it was another stacked list, I think. Raido, I think not a whole lot of people were talking about Raido, but that dude is hilarious. Shinpei, just great all around. Lloyd from Spy Family, I mean, I feel bad. Like, Anya lost in supporting, you're lost in Best Girl, Lloyd lost in Best Guy. I want to give it to them, but there's just so many good ones this year. That's just how it fell. Spy Family does have season 2 and a movie announced though, so plenty more chances coming up. Only one character category left, the Best Couple or Ship Award, of course. I definitely know that I've mentioned to some of you, who I see in the chat, how this was another hard one for me to pick. Spent a lot of time thinking about it. But before we get into this year's, previous years, Narumi and Hirotaka from Modokoi. I would love if that got another season. The manga's over. I've read the whole thing. It gets way better than it was in the anime. And the anime was already good. So, please, anime gods, give another season. Kaguya and Shirogane in 2019. That was when season 1 came out, so they are not eligible this year. Adachi and Shimamura in 2020. I think 2020 was super weak for romance as well. And 2021 was Machi and Yuki. I know not picking Kyo and Toru from Fruits Basket is kind of, I don't know if it's like heresy, but I really liked Machi and Yuki. That aside, here are the nominees for Best Couple or Ship. Aharen and Raido from Aharen-san. Chisato and Takina from Licorice Recoil. Marine and Gojo from My Dress Up Darling. Anzu and Kazuki from Romantic Killer. Yor and Lloyd from Spy Family. YuGiOh and Shinpei from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Couple or Ship is YuGiOh and Shinpei from Summertime Rendering. While Summertime Rendering is far from a romance anime, it has a great romance subplot in YuGiOh and Shinpei, two childhood friends who have long had feelings for one another but reunite after years apart under mysterious circumstances. Across Rendering's 25 episodes, the two spent plenty of time together to reaffirm and strengthen their feelings, and this development all builds to an emotional and satisfying conclusion to their journey. They have a great dynamic in how they're able to seamlessly bounce off one another and complement each other's weaknesses even after years apart, and I really appreciated how the two constantly communicated, learned from past mistakes, and wholly trusted each other as they worked together to solve the mystery plaguing their hometown. It's clear how much YuGiOh and Shinpei care about each other, and seeing how their relationship progressed throughout Rendering's tense story was something I felt really enhanced the series. YuGiOh and Shinpei's mutual respect, trust, and love for one another, and the deep, genuine bond they share all combined to make a ship it was easy to get behind, and I was really happy with the way that their story wrapped up. YuGiOh and Shinpei, which means Summertime Rendering, is the first show to hit 3 awards. Now winning Suspense, Antagonist, and Couple or Ship. Loved that the ship worked well since Summertime was fully adapted. Yeah, definitely. I think if they had only adapted to the halfway point, like, what even would have been the halfway point? Episode 12? Which was when they were in that... I don't even want to say anything in case people haven't watched it, but... yeah, this being a full adaptation, I think really made it nice. Like, Yor and Lloyd has been one of my favorites for a long time, so I thought, you know, as soon as Spy Family had an anime announced, I'm like, they're gonna win. No doubt about it. But the anime went a little bit past where I had read in the manga, and I was a little... Since the second core had some focus on, like, Fiona, so I think that took away from the Yor and Lloyd a bit. Granted, the resolution of the Fiona arc was a good Yor and Lloyd moment. I like that a lot. But I think because they didn't get as much focus in the second half, I couldn't give it to them compared to YuGiOh and Shinpei, who had a very, very nice full story told. And that brings us to the music section, which is my personal favorite section. You get to hear a lot of stuff from the actual anime, because I like to include the tracks themselves so you can hear it too. Of course, we start off the music section with the best opening, just like every anime starts off with. My winners from the past few years, we have Kokoku in 2018 and Dororo in 2019. D4DJ in 2020, which has a season 2 airing right now. I haven't started it yet, but I'm excited for that. And Link Click in 2021. Link Clicks was awesome. Very much looking forward to season 2, whenever that happens. This year, definitely a good lineup of openings. So let's find out which one joins the Hall of Fame. Here are the nominees for Best Opening. Seishun Complex by Kesoku Band from Bocchi the Rock. Falling into Heaven by Creepy Nuts from Call of the Night. The Naked Hero by Vondi from Ranking of Kings. Souvenir by Bump of Chicken from Spy Family. The Game is a Poker Face by Kana Hanazawa from When Will Ayumu Make His Move. Chicky Chicky Bon Bon by Queendom from Your Boy Kome. And the winner of Best Opening is Souvenir by Bump of Chicken from Spy Family. Souvenir is an incredible opening in literally every way. To start, a catchy song from Bump of Chicken, who I think is one of the best Japanese rock bands out there. Yes, please. But even more than that, it's the visuals and meaning behind the imagery that I liked most about this OP. The opening is mostly shown through Lloyd's point of view, which is why there are a lot of shots of Yor and Anya without him in it. We're seeing some of these scenes as he does. This take is more meaningful when you consider how the opening transitions from darker colors and shots of the characters alone to brighter scenes with everyone together. The Forger family have dark pasts individually, but now that they're together, they're all able to start enjoying themselves and having fun. The crows in the sky go from being a mess to a heart shape, and Lloyd goes from shooting alone on a mission to having fun at a carnival game with his family. Lloyd became a spy because he wanted the world to be a safer place, so seeing him taking in the view of his family enjoying themselves in the opening feels impactful. I really like when openings tell a story or have interesting imagery, so that, combined with the great song from Bump of Chicken, made this my favorite of the year. Plus, that shot of Yor towards the end swinging her stiletto around and then catching a flower on it? Hello? Yeah, Spy Family's first win. So many, like, Yor for best girl, Lloyd for best guy, Yor and Lloyd for best couple, the show in general for best comedy or slice of life. Like, it's kind of like how I felt with Vanitas last year, where it was very strong in all of those sections, but there was always just one show or one thing that I liked slightly more, so I had to give it to that, and then Spy Family just keeps getting shafted. But finally I could give it its first award with the OP. I'm a little peeved that I couldn't find a creditless version. Like, I just don't like having that all over the screen when I'm editing and whatnot, but either way, it is a great opening all around. Waku Waku, yeah. Oh, Anya. Next up, we have the award for best soundtrack. I spend a lot of time listening to music. I have a massive anime playlist on Spotify with openings, endings, insert songs, backing soundtrack songs, so much in there. So I just always really enjoy going through at the end of the year and reminiscing on the big tracks that I liked and picking the eventual winner. Past couple years, these have been my winners. I still listen to the soundtracks for all of these shows. Violet Evergarden in 2018, tons of great tracks there. Boogie Pop and Others in 2019, very underrated soundtrack. 2020 had the Fate Babylonia anime, which had a lot of remastered tracks from the game. And 2021 had Aquatope on White Sand, which very well may be top 5 soundtracks all time for me, like across all media, games, movies, anime. It's so good. I have the physical copy of it that I imported from Japan. I listen to it on Spotify all the time. It is so good. And this year was stacked lineup too, because a lot of my favorite composers all were back this year with new anime. So hard pick, but had to be done. So here are the nominees for Best Soundtrack. Attack on Titan, Call of the Night, The Case Study of Vanitas, Made in Abyss, Reincarnated as a Sword, Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Soundtrack is Made in Abyss. In this third iteration of Made in Abyss, I can confidently say that Kevin Penkin has once again outdone himself and proved himself to be one of the greats in the industry right now. The soundtrack features somber piano, haunting vocals, and an interesting mix of strings, wind, and others to create an overall soundtrack that's equal parts mysterious, depressing, beautiful, and reflective. This is an incredibly diverse soundtrack with dozens of tracks that sound unique and distinct, and that makes it feel like an adventure to listen to, fitting for a series like Made in Abyss, which is heavy on adventure and discovery. With Made in Abyss, Kevin Penkin has crafted a soundtrack nothing short of incredible, with each song elevating the sense of adventure, dread, or sadness in a given scene. It's a phenomenal piece of work that anyone who appreciates soundtracks or even music in general should give a listen to, and truly deserves the award for Soundtrack of the Year. Made in Abyss. Loved the first soundtrack. But I wasn't doing awards, and I believe it came out in 2017, so I couldn't give it to it. And then the movie came out, but it came out the same year that the Fate anime came out. And how could I not give it to Fate when I'm an FGO fanboy? So now I can finally give it to Made in Abyss. Kevin Penkin is just a genius, a musical genius. Seriously, like, if you just like music in general and appreciate music, it's worth listening to. My favorite track is called The Golden City on the soundtrack. They didn't even use it in the anime. Or they didn't use the second half of it, which is my favorite part of it. So, that was unfortunate. But the rest of the stuff on the soundtrack is great. but it's deep dive time. The single best soundtrack song. This is always a lot of fun for me. I make my little playlist, listen to them on repeat, and eventually pick a winner. Previous years, we have Letters from Heaven from Violet Evergarden, which is from episode 10 with well, if you know, you know. Episode, what the hell? 2019, we have Wish of the Doll from Granbelm, another very underrated anime with a great soundtrack. 2020, we have Absolute Demonic Front from Fate Babylonia. That's my good luck charm. When I'm rolling gacha, I put that song on. And 2021, we had Hear My Voice from 86. So, let's just jump into it. Find out. The single best OST track. Here are the nominees. Traitor from Attack on Titan. Call of the Night from Call of the Night. Shikisai, The Time of Parting Hath Come from Fate Grand Order Solomon. Old Stories from Made in Abyss. Heavy Slash from Reincarnated as a Sword. Wakusen from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best OST Track is Call of the Night from Call of the Night. The title track of the soundtrack is absolutely perfect for setting the scene and tone of the series. I really loved how the song starts off with a quiet electronic melody before beginning to slowly add in more instruments and elements as the song continues, eventually building to a soothing crescendo as all the elements combine for a beautiful medley. The track felt like a perfect representation of the mysterious and calming tone of the show, and the differing sections felt like each one could be indicative of someone else's interpretation of the night. To some, it's quiet and lonely, like the soft electronic beginning. To others, it's a time to reflect and explore, like the layered piano and vocals in the middle. And to others, the night is like the crescendo at the end, when everything comes together. A time to truly be free, an escape from the confines of the day, a time with seemingly endless possibilities as the rest of the world sleeps. Yoshiaki Daiwa's Call of the Night is a soothing, thoughtful track that does an excellent job of giving a tangible sound to the night. The title track from Call of the Night definitely got the most replays from me, and thus it wins the Best OST Track award. Fun fact, Yoshiaki Daiwa, like I mentioned there, is the composer for the soundtrack. He also did the soundtrack for the Aquatope on White Sand, which was my winner for just Best Overall Soundtrack last year, and is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. So it was nice to see him back with the soundtrack for Call of the Night, and winning yet another award. Now, background music is not the only important music in anime. We also have the best insert songs. And who doesn't love a good insert song? You got them for hype fights. You got them for those moments that just make you want to break down and cry while you curl up into a ball in the dark. You get performance songs for all the different idol and music anime. Here are my winners for best insert use the past couple years. A Place Further Than the Universe in 2018 had a bunch of good ones. Carol and Tuesday in 2019. I was a little iffy on the show as a whole, but the music was great. D4DJ in 2020. And Vivi last year. So, here are the nominees for Best Use of Inserts. Bang Dream Poppin' Dream. Bell. Bocchi the Rock. Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Made in Abyss. Ya Boy Kome. And the winner of Best Use of Inserts is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. In a year filled with some great music, anime, and performance scenes, it was instead Edgerunners that really blew me away with its sheer variety of insert songs and the great way they were utilized. Be it an upbeat tune setting the tone of the city and characters, a pulse-pounding electronic track with thumping bass during a life or death fight, a metal track during a raid, or a vocal-focused song that tears at you and heightens an emotional climax, Edgerunners had a song for just about any situation and used them to great effect. The seamless implementation of this massive variety of inserts did a fantastic job of helping to set the tone of Night City and further draw me into the world and story, and this strong usage is what made Cyberpunk Edgerunners stand atop the rest of the pack this year. Cyberpunk, award number 2, for best use of inserts. Now, if you go and just search like Cyberpunk insert song, obviously there's one main one that shows up the most. I really want to stay at your house, for good reason. But then there's a whole album that people put together. There are so many insert songs in this anime. For so many different types of situations, they cover so many different genres. It's really impressive, to be honest. And they're all used to great effect. So, again, if you like music, great anime to watch. For all the great insert songs, there's a good soundtrack too, don't get me wrong. But the insert songs, great stuff. Once again, it's time for a deep dive. Whoops. I accidentally switched the scene again. Time for a deep dive. The best insert track. This is always one of my favorite awards to pick. This year's lineup, really, really good. But before we get into this year's, reminisce a bit on the past couple years. Sora wo Miyagete from 2018, A Place Further Than the Universe. That was the episode 2 running scene, if you've seen it. That's one of my all-time favorite insert songs. Returns from Bang Dream Season 2 in 2019. And Straight Through Our Dreams from Bang Dream Season 3 in 2020, back-to-back wins. 2021 had Fluorite Eyes song from Vivi, which was from the final episode. Another great insert for, like, lyrically and what it symbolizes for Vivi and the show in general. But no dilly-dallying. The nominees for Best Insert Song are Lilas from 86, A Million Miles Away from Belle, If I Could Be a Constellation from Bocchi the Rock, I Really Want to Stay at Your House from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Chika and Shirogane's Rap from Kaguya-sama Love is War, We of the Rebels from Pompo the Cinephile. And the winner of Best Insert Song is Lilas from 86. Penned by the ever-incredible Hiroyuki Sawano, Lilas is a borderline perfect insert. From the moment the first piano notes kicked in with the first-person shot through a camera, I just knew this was going to be a special song and a great scene. After all the suffering, pain, and deaths across the previous episodes, listening to a hopeful song about a meeting a long time coming made the scene all the more impactful. The directorial choices during this song were fantastic, as many shot changes occur in time with the beats of the song and match up with the lyrics, with my favorite being the release that occurs as the final chorus drops. Two people who clearly care about each other, torn apart by war, are finally able to see each other and experience all the overwhelming emotions that come along with that. Lilas is a powerful insert track that made an already emotional scene feel even more cathartic, and this harmony of music and visuals made it my favorite insert of the year. It was so hard to edit that song. I mean, to edit like that piece and even just record stuff without really doing any kind of spoilers in case you haven't seen it. Like, I tried to be so vague and just general with the things I was doing and the shots I was picking. But it's very much an if you know, you know. Like, if you've seen 86 and the last episode, like Okabe says here, fantastic song to end the season off. Yep. I don't know if you've actually, like, I read a little lyrical analysis on it on Reddit at some point. That was nice. Just seeing how the lyrics pair up with what's actually happening, because obviously we can't really understand it not speaking Japanese. But it's great. But this whole, like, this year's lineup, Lilas was great, obviously, but I Really Want to Stay at Your House from Cyberpunk was a very strong number 2 for me. In terms of, like, lasting, like, I listen to that song so much. The one from Pompo I really liked, We Have the Rebels. Yeah, this was just a great year for music in general. But we still have one more music award, and we'll end it with the ending, the award for Best Ending. Past couple years, we had Grand Blue, Kakiguri, Bang Dream, and 86. This year, another good lineup. I mean, Chainsaw Man had like 12 endings by itself. Different ending every episode. But I feel bad for their staff trying to put together 12 different endings, but it was cool. Anyway, the nominees for Best Ending are Son of Evil by Ai Higuchi from Attack on Titan, Distortion by Kisoku Band from Bocchi the Rock, Dogland by People One from Chainsaw Man, Route Blue by Yuki Nakashima from Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, Comedy by Gen Hoshino from Spy Family, Kaika by Kato from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Ending is Son of Evil by Ai Higuchi from Attack on Titan. As soon as I heard the swell of the music accompanying the flawless transition from Eren standing in a dark cage to him being in a wide open, colorful field, face full of wonder and excitement for what this freedom could bring, I just knew that this would be my favorite of the year. There's a few examples of nice symbolism throughout the ending. The bird desperately trying to fly away before fading after being caught in the cage, and Eren fading away in a gust of wind and fire in the end. But by far my favorite thing about this ending was the way the chorus comes in with that perfect transition from dark to colorful, as Eren is blown away by his surroundings with that look of childish wonder. And when you pair it with the lyrics, which represent Eren's philosophy as he commits the rumbling, it just hits even harder. It's an incredible sequence that I've rewatched dozens of times, and one I think is well deserving of the Best Ending award. Attack on Titan. Somehow it took, 6, 12, 19 awards before it finally won one? Which is pretty rare for me, because I'm a pretty big fan of Attack on Titan. Pretty much always wins something. And here it is, it finally won with Son of Evil. Obsessed with that transition. I also really liked that Spy Family one, that brief, 5-second thing where Lloyd, Anya, and Yor are just dancing in their living room. Really cute. But Attack on Titan, I literally saw that, what was it, like February of last year maybe? And as soon as I saw it, I was like, there's no way anything is going to beat this for me. Sure enough, here we are a year later, and it takes home the award for Best Ending. With that, the music section is done. We're into production. 19 out of 30 awards are gone. Production is the shortest section, only 5 awards. And then we get to the big guns. So let's just jump into production. We start with Best Art. This is specifically focusing on the background art. Previous years, Violet Evergarden, Vinland Saga, Great Pretender, and the Aquatope on White Sand were the winners. This year, amazing. Again, I feel like almost every category is like this, but the lineup is just unreal. I did have 2 clear favorites of the 6 that I ended up picking, so picking between those 2 was hard. But had to be done. Which one did I pick? Let's find out. Here are the nominees for Best Art. Bocchi the Rock, Call of the Night, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Chainsaw Man, Made in Abyss, Ranking of Kings. And the winner of Best Art is Call of the Night. Featuring a gorgeous mix of neon colors and starry skies, Call of the Night's art direction does a fabulous job of setting the tone of the series. To a teenager like Ko, the night is like another world, mysterious and mystical, uncharted territory waiting to be explored with treasures to be uncovered. The array of neon lights, obviously different from what we know the night to be like in real life, exemplify how the night is a strange and unusual place, but also an exciting one full of secrets to someone like Ko. We're seeing the night the way he sees it. And as he begins to explore the city at night, meeting a variety of new and interesting characters while getting mixed up in a mystery, this captivating use of lights helped to pull me into the world and story. Call of the Night's beautiful neon lights, starry skies, and detailed city combined to form a stylish, riveting art style that I loved watching. Call of the Night, Best Art. It was Call of the Night and Ranking of Kings were the two that I was really torn between. Ranking of Kings, I really liked how the art seemed like it was almost like straight out of a fairy tale or like a storybook, like that you would see when you're a kid. I mean, I guess it makes sense for a fantasy anime, but I mean, Wit Studio, they just, anything they touch is gorgeous. I believe it was Wit who did, Wit does Vinland Saga, which was my winner in 2019, and they were the runner-up this year. But Call of the Night, I just really loved how they used the different neon lights and the skies. Second piece of production is the character design. Previous winners, Violet Evergarden. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Again, I really like the variety in the fantasy worlds. Great Pretender in 2020, that was Wit again. Actually, that reminds me, Great Pretender was the winner for Best Art in 2020, so they won in 2019 and 20. And then Odd Taxi in 2021 with all the different animals. Very unique. This year, another great lineup. So let's just find out. Here are the nominees for Best Character Design. Call of the Night, The Case Study of Vanitas, Chainsaw Man, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Pompo the Cinephile, Ranking of Kings. And the winner of Best Character Design is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Studio Trigger has always had excellent designs in their series, and Cyberpunk Edgerunners is by far my favorite of them all. Every character feels distinctive and memorable, featuring plenty of variety in hairstyles, body types, and overall colors. Add in the crazy amount of body augmentations that Night City offers, and you have cybernetic limbs, weapons hidden within bodies, modifications to facial and bodily features, and more. It really feels like every character has some aspect to their design that makes them uniquely them. David's yellow jacket, Maine's malfunctioning arm, Rebecca's pink body markings, and Lucy's hair gradient along with her outfit in general. The characters in Cyberpunk Edgerunners are a mix of man and machine, and this medley along with Studio Trigger's stylish flair makes for a cast that's full of visually interesting, attractive, and distinct characters. Cyberpunk, award number 3. Character design, action, and insert use. 3 different sections. Yes, I love the character designs. I'm a simp for anything Trigger does. Visually, I mean, what Trigger related thing has bad, like Kill la Kill? Great. I don't really care for the SSS Gridman and Dynazamon, whatever that one is, but still great character designs in those. Kisnaver is great. I mean, Gurren Lagann, technically that was before they were Trigger, but everything they touch is great. And Cyberpunk, peak character design. But bringing together the art and the animation, spoiler, bringing together the art and the character design is the animation. The reason a lot of people like anime in general. In previous years, we have Violet Evergarden, Mob Psycho 100, so Mob is not eligible this year. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Now that I think about it, that's a nice mix. There's like 2 action shows. There's a drama with great character animation. And then there's Eizouken, which is a comedy slice of life, but has very creative set pieces. Which of those types of things will it be this year? Who knows? Here are the nominees for Best Animation. Bocchi the Rock, Chainsaw Man, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Demon Slayer, Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, Ranking of Kings, and the winner of Best Animation is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I've long been a huge fan of Studio Trigger's fantastic mix of dynamic action animation along with expressive character animation, and Cyberpunk Edgerunners had both of them in droves. Once again, Night City and its copious amounts of body augmentations lend themselves to the animation, with crazy set pieces you wouldn't be able to see without them. Between gunfights, brawls, car chases, and exploding vehicles and bodies alike, Trigger's fluid animation brings all the brutal, gory action to the forefront. However, this chaotic action is balanced by the quieter moments and character animation. Characters react in ways that feel natural thanks to how expressive, or at times inexpressive, they are. Between those great characters and the insanity of the action, Studio Trigger's experienced hands bring Night City to life in a way that makes it impossible to look away. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is an absolute feast for the eyes. Cyberpunk, back-to-back awards, character design and animation. I believe that is also Cyberpunk's 4th award, which puts it in the lead. I know the initial thought is, how does Demon Slayer not win? Kind of like what I said with action. Like, you think about the fight in Demon Slayer in episode 10, which is like a movie, and it was just a TV episode. I understand. I can see why people would pick that. But I feel like, holistically, Cyberpunk was better when you factor in the character animation, and it was more unique. Like, Demon Slayer, obviously, it's a spectacle. But I feel like it's a lot of effects that kind of get thrown on top. And I just feel like it's not as memorable. Like, aside from that fight in episode 10, is there anything as memorable? That's kind of how I was, I'm blanking on the word, not validating, but how I was explaining it to myself when I was picking a winner. You really can't go wrong either way, though. Bocchi the Rock, also stellar animation. Like, it's not an action series like the other two, but the character animation and how unique it is with all the different styles and how it seamlessly transitions, that was a great one. Sir Ligma can't spend the entire animation budget on a single scene. That's true. I mean, it makes that scene stand out. And there were other good scenes, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that fight with Daki in like episode 6 or whatever had some good animation. But as a whole, I do think Cyberpunk was better holistically. Visuals aside, audio. Best voice acting performance from a male. Previous years, we have, this is the voice actor's name on top and then the character's name on the bottom. Ryohei Kimura as Kohei, Makoto Furukawa as Shirogane, so he's not eligible. Yusuke Kobayashi as Subaru, aka Sufuru. That guy just has the most miserable life in existence, basically. I would not want to be him. But he's a great voice actor. He really makes you feel his pain. And Yuichi Nakamura as Shigure Soma. Yuichi Nakamura is also Gojo. Fantastic voice actor. So, here are the nominees for Best Male Voice Acting Performance. Yuki Kaji as Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Kaito Ishikawa as Noe Archiviste from the case study of Vanitas. Natsuki Hanai as Vanitas from the case study of Vanitas. Ken as David Martinez from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Katsuyuki Konishi as Shide from Summertime Rendering. Takehito Koyasu as Oji-san from Uncle from Another World. And the winner of Best Male Voice Acting Performance is Natsuki Hanai as Vanitas from the case study of Vanitas. In the second half of the series, Vanitas gets additional focus as he grapples with his past and faces one of his biggest challenges yet. And in these moments, Natsuki Hanai does an amazing job of bringing Vanitas' frustration and desperation to life. Vanitas is a multi-layered character who normally acts loud and boisterous on the outside, so seeing how well Natsuki Hanai was able to not just keep up that layer of Vanitas, but also incorporate all of the negative feelings to give Vanitas more depth, made learning his backstory and seeing his development in the final arc feel all the more satisfying. Vanitas was one of my favorite characters of the year, and the performance behind him played a large role in making him feel so believable and multifaceted. Vanitas, yet another win for the case study of Vanitas. Natsuki Hanai is also Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, if you're wondering who else, and he is Shinpei from Summertime Rendering. He had a good year, to say the least, but I think Vanitas was the best performance of them all. It's just, like I said in the description of the win, very multifaceted, really hits all the different sides, but the scenes where he's pissed off, I think, are the best. In the same vein, Best Female Voice Acting Performance. Very stacked lineup again. I would say arguably stronger. Not even arguably, definitely is stronger than the male lineup. In previous years, we have Kana Hanazawa as Shirase from Place Further, Satsuki Yukino as Magase Ai from Babylon, Aoi Koga as Kaguya, so she's not eligible, and Ai Kakuma as Eris from Mushoku Tensei. The nominees for Best Female Voice Acting Performance are Yoshino Aoyama as Bochi from Bochi the Rock, Misaki Kuno as Faputa from Made in Abyss, Hina Suguta as Marine Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling, Rie Takahashi as Anzu Hoshino from Romantic Killer, Atsumi Tanizaki as Anya Forger from Spy Family, Misaki Kuno as Haine from Summertime Rendering. And the winner of Best Female Voice Acting Performance is Misaki Kuno as Faputa from Made in Abyss. The sheer contrast in this performance blew me away, at times giggling and childlike, and at other times full of menace, letting out primal screams of rage. Misaki Kuno did an utterly fantastic job at playing Faputa and showing all of the complicated feelings and pent-up emotion she has. I genuinely felt chills when I heard her unleash scream after scream, and it felt completely real. And while her piercing screams and rage were the standout pieces, the additional aspects such as her childlike personality I mentioned earlier, as well as the way her voice chokes up or wobbles as she gets upset, confused, or conflicted, made Faputa an even more believable character. With her performance as Faputa, Misaki Kuno showcased an incredibly dynamic range that laid every emotion on the table in a truly believable way. Misaki Kuno as Faputa for the Best Female Voice Acting Performance. She was also Haine in Summertime Rendering, also got nominated for that. Just had a stellar year. I feel really bad for her vocal cords though, because Made in Abyss and Summertime Rendering aired at the same time, and I would not want to be recording all of that screaming in such a short period. Actually, that reminds me, I had read somewhere that, like, playing Faputa was so stressful for her vocal cords that she actually, like, lost her voice or damaged her throat or something. I don't remember the specifics, but it kind of makes me feel bad about giving the award to her for that. Like, shouldn't necessarily reward self-destructive behavior, if that makes sense. But at the same time, you can't ignore how strong and just incredible the performance was. So I still had to give it to her. But it was a great lineup of performances this year. Everything this year was great. Somehow we are on to the final section overall. 6 awards here, building up to the eventual Anime of the Year, of course. But to start the overall section, we have Best Story. Story is the thing I care about most in any entertainment medium, basically. I'm here for the story. I will still have a good time if it's something that doesn't involve a story, don't get me wrong. But if something has a good story, it always elevates it for me. The previous Best Story winners: Steins Gate Zero, Attack on Titan, so that's no longer eligible. And the story's gotten better since then, so. Fate Babylonia, and Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi, actually, my mom watched Odd Taxi with me. That was her first ever anime. It piqued her interest, and she ended up liking it. So if you're looking for anime you could recommend to your family, Odd Taxi's an option if they like mystery thriller type stuff. Anyway, here are the nominees for Best Story. The Case Study of Vanitas, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Made in Abyss, Pompo the Cinephile, Ranking of Kings, Summertime Rendering, and the winner of Best Story is Summertime Rendering. Mystery thrillers are my favorite genre, so I had high expectations for Summertime Rendering, and it ended up blowing me away. From the immediate feeling that something wasn't right and the resulting tension present in the first episode, to the jaw-dropping moment of a cliffhanger it ended on, I was 100% locked in. Across its 25 episodes, Summertime Rendering tells a well-paced, intense tale full of twists and turns, and the ominous feeling it establishes in the first episode permeates the entire series, never letting up until the very end. And the best part of it all is the incredible usage of cliffhangers. Nearly every episode ends at a point that made me simultaneously eager and worried to find out what would happen next, and it was a series I found agonizing to watch weekly, if only because of how badly I wanted, nay, needed, to find out what came next. Add in a diverse cast full of interesting characters, many of whom are hiding their own secrets, and it just adds another layer to this great mystery. Summertime Rendering tells a complete, satisfying story packed with an unsettling atmosphere, an interesting mystery, brutal cliffhangers, well-written characters, and continually rising stakes that all combine to form one of the most viscerally engaging thrillers I've had the pleasure of watching. Ooh, what was that? Summertime Rendering wins its 4th award? I believe Rendering, Vanitas, and Cyberpunk are all at 4. Yes, Cyberpunk Endering. Oh my god, what the hell was that? Cyberpunk Endering. That's one hell of a title. Summertime Rendering. Great story. Again, I've said it multiple times now, but the cliffhangers are just insane. I have never watched or read or played anything that had cliffhangers that kept me wanting to come back quite like that. And the fact that it's a complete adaptation, like someone mentioned earlier, you get the full story. There's no, cliffhanger of a season ending that you just never get resolved. One of those shows that, if you like mysteries, if you like thrillers, must watch. Absolute must watch. Most underrated or underwatched. Now, I kind of think this is almost like a loser award. Like, you don't want to win this. But I still have it just to try highlighting stuff that I like that either I think people aren't watching enough or for whatever reason just has a low rating and I can't wrap my head around it. In past years, it has actually always been, now that I look at the nominees, or the previous winners, it has always been stuff that I thought was underwatched. Hiroduku in 2018, Grand Belm in 2019, D4DJ in 2020, and The Aquatope on White Sand in 2021. D4DJ was like my second favorite, or third favorite anime of 2020? Second. Aquatope on White Sand was in my top 10. Hiroduku was in my top 10. I don't remember if Grand Belm was. Hiroduku and Aquatope are actually both from the same studio too, PA Works. So they're just very unlucky with these underwatched ones. But all of these are worth watching, and all of the nominees are worth watching, especially what ends up winning. So here are the nominees for most underrated or underwatched. Bang Dream Poppin' Dream, Engage Kiss, Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, Raven of the Inner Palace, Romantic Killer, When Will Ayumu Make His Move? And the winner of most underrated or underwatched is Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. If you scoffed when you saw Gundam get nominated, much less end up winning, I wouldn't blame you. But alas, the numbers don't lie. On AniList, Gundam was only the 79th most watched anime of the year, and on my anime list, it was only the 21st most watched anime in just the fall season. I'm not sure if Gundam is just notoriously overlooked in the West or what, but it being so low for the year and season is just absurd. Telling a story laced with mystery and political drama, the first core of the series build up to an explosive finale, and I can't wait to see what happens in the second half later this year. It also had a varied cast covering numerous factions, each with their own agendas, an interesting pair of main characters, continual world building, and excellent production values between the great soundtrack and the fun action animation in the mech brawls. Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury is an engaging series that deserves to be watched way more than it has been, and I would highly encourage you to check it out if you at all enjoy fun action and a healthy mix of well-written character and political drama. Gundam. How can you possibly tell me that there are 80 shows that got watched more than Gundam? Like, this show was all over my Twitter feed when it was airing, so I thought it was really popular. And then I'm looking through the AniList, like, popularity rankings. Like, there are shows that I've never even heard of above this. And for the season, there are 20 fall shows. Fall was a great season. Best season of the year. But there are 20 shows above this? Is that a joke? Come on. Great series. Like, I'm not even really a mech guy. But Gundam isn't really about, like, the mechs are present, but it's really more character stories. And the mechs are just kind of like the world building. Like, the people don't revolve around the mechs revolve around the people, if that makes sense. It's very much a political and character drama. Very much worth watching. It still has good action with the mechs, but man, people doing this one dirty. We are into the best of the best categories now. The best overall movie. I don't watch a ton of movies. I definitely prefer TV just because 20-minute episodes are not a big commitment, whereas like an hour and a half, 2-hour movie is. But I will, of course, still watch movies. Here are my previous winners. We have YuGiOh in 2018. Promare in 2019. I saw that in theaters. Made in Abyss movie in 2020. Some of my friends weren't as into it. I didn't think it was as good as season 1 or season 2, but I still quite liked it. And Josei the Tiger and Fish in 2021. I feel like the movies this year were pretty sequel heavy. off the top of my head, but either way, why don't we just find out? Here are the nominees for Best Movie. Bang Dream Poppin' Dream, Dr. Stone Ryusui, Fate Grand Order Solomon, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Pompo the Cinephile, the quintessential quintuplets movie. And the winner of Best Movie is Pompo the Cinephile. Pompo was an incredible movie from beginning to end. It follows Gene, the assistant to the titular Pompo, who gets the chance to direct his first movie. With it being a movie about making a movie, there are plenty of fun nods where it gets meta and breaks the fourth wall. But what really resonated with me is that at its core, this is a movie about following your dreams and chasing your passions. About the unrelenting drive to create something for both yourself and others. Something you can find yourself in. As someone who uses content creation as my main creative outlet, I could really identify with Gene as a protagonist and the overall theme of the movie. But it's not just Gene. The cast is full of good-natured people who support each other and all strive to follow their own dreams. Across its 90-minute runtime, Pompo the Cinephile tells a concise, satisfying, and ultimately heartwarming story. From a production standpoint, the film was also an excellent marriage of visuals and audio. The art is colorful and beautiful, the animation is striking and creative, the cinematography is excellent and makes the most of anime as a medium, and the soundtrack had a strong lineup of great tracks and well-timed insert songs. Pompo the Cinephile is an absolute joy to watch that had me smiling from start to finish, cheering for the cast and often finding pieces of myself in them and their dreams. It's incredibly fun, immensely satisfying, full of creativity, and one of those anime that reminds me why I love the medium so much. Pompo the Cinephile. That was a really long explanation of why I liked it, which was convenient because I had to go get a drink. I came back right as it was ending, which is why there was like a couple second delay to switch back. And I didn't switch my scene. No, there we go. Pompo the Cinephile, best movie. I absolutely loved Pompo, man. By far one of my favorite anime of the year. And it's another one, kind of like Spy Family earlier, where like I wanted to give it awards, but there was just so much good stuff this year that there kept being one or two things that I would slightly nudge it out for in different categories. But in the movies, it is unmatched. Highly, highly recommend it. It's so creative. It's an absolute blast to watch. People need to watch. I only know one person who has watched Pompo other than me. Please watch Pompo. If you appreciate creativity, you'll like it. All right. What time is it? The final 3 awards. The big 3, as I call them. Best episode, best sequel, anime of the year. Start off with best episode, of course. What makes a best episode? I don't know. Is it really enjoyable? Is it very emotional? Does it progress the plot in some crazy way? Does it have a huge cliffhanger that just keeps you thinking and talking all the time? Anything. Any of those could make a best episode. My previous winners, A Place Further Than the Universe, episode 13, which is the finale. Very emotional episode, very satisfying. Attack on Titan, season 3, part 2, episode 54. That's the basement episode, if you've watched Attack on Titan. Oh wait, no, that's not the basement episode. What the Excuse me. That's the big confrontation episode, where the Colossal and the Armored Titans reappear, and Eren and Co make a stand. ReZero, Season 2, Part 1, Episode 29. That's Parent and Child. It's the Subaru It's hard to really talk about these with any kind of spoilers. Like, anyway, 86, episode 9. That one was called Goodbye. You can imagine. It was an emotional one. Had a really good ending. So, what were the best episodes this year? Here are the nominees for Best Episode. Attack on Titan Episode 80, From You 2,000 Years Ago. Bocchi the Rock Episode 8, Bocchi the Rock. Kaguya-sama Love is War Episode 36, Dual Confessions. Made in Abyss The Golden City of the Scorching Sun Episode 12, Gold. Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury Episode 12, The Witch from Mercury. Summertime Rendering Episode 15, Lights, Camera, Action. And the winner of Best Episode is Kaguya-sama Love is War Episode 36, Dual Confessions. After 3 years of build-up, development, and teases, Dual Confessions felt like a near-perfect culmination of everything that paved the way before it. Kaguya and Shirogane and all of their awkward but genuine love, facing off in their greatest showdown yet. The scene atop the clock tower taking up roughly half the episode is an instant classic. Kaguya and Shirogane talk and are more honest with each other than ever before, though their actions speak louder than their words. I don't want to say too much about it for spoiler reasons, but it really is an amazing scene. In addition to the big scene here, there's also a great scene with Kaguya being more honest with Hayasaka, a cute Ishigami Miko moment, and Chika being Chika, which was entertaining as always. The finale of Love is War's 3rd season was an incredibly satisfying, heartwarming, and worthwhile payoff to one of the greatest rom-coms of all time, and will surely go down as having one of the most memorable scenes in anime for years to come. Kaguya-sama episode 36. So technically, this is episode 36 and 37, because it's a Dual Confessions part 1 and 2. I just included it as one, because when it originally came out, people were like, oh, it's a double-length episode. So that's how I treated it. But it shows up as 36 and 37 if you watch on like Crunchyroll or something. Either way, I don't think that's cheating, because it was billed as a double episode. It's just, like I said in the thing, it's the culmination of everything that came before it. It's so satisfying. How could you not, like, if you like rom-coms, if you like Kaguya, this is one of the best episodes of anime ever. Like, that's just how it is. Not to, make it sound like the other episodes that I nominated weren't good, because that's not the case. They were all very good. But this episode was just, it's what everybody has wanted. Somehow, we are down to the final 2. Best sequel or spin-off. This is one of the categories that you can win in again, if you've already won before. Obviously, Attack on Titan winning 3 out of 4 years. Season 3 Part 1 and 2, and Final Season Part 1. The only time it hasn't won was Fate Babylonia, which you can watch standalone. Like, every Fate Grand Order arc is pretty self-contained, so, if you like Fate, you could definitely just jump into that. I think it's a little more impactful if you know what came before it, but still very much watchable on its own. So I feel like that's a little bit more of a spin-off. But yeah, Attack on Titan dominance. And Attack on Titan had another season this year, obviously. Will it continue its dominance? Will it not? Who knows? Here are the nominees for Best Sequel or Spin-off. Attack on Titan The Final Season Part 2. The Case Study of Vanitas Part 2. Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc. Fate Grand Order Solomon. Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3. Made in Abyss The Golden City of the Scorching Sun. And the winner of Best Sequel or Spin-off is Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3. Love is War's third season proves once again that it's one of the best, if not the best, rom-com in anime. The series is an utterly fantastic adaptation of the manga, thanks to the great directorial choices that go above and beyond what you see in the manga, with dozens upon dozens of interesting visuals and cuts. The comedy is some of the best out there, consistently landing with nearly every episode making me laugh out loud, especially the iconic rap scene. The cast, full of lovable and endearing characters, shares a top-tier dynamic with each other and still continue to grow and develop into even better people and characters. And the way the season ends is nothing short of cathartic after 3 seasons of build-up. Overall, Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3 is by far its best one yet, the best adaptation of a manga I've seen to date, more than likely the best rom-com I've seen, and an absolute joy to watch thanks to the cast, comedy, and heart. This is what peak fiction looks like. I'm sorry, Attack on Titan. It wasn't meant to be. Kaguya-sama Season 3 is too powerful. That makes Kaguya's 4th win as well. Best sequel, best episode, best cast, and best guy. This year's, sequels in general in 2022, so good. All of those 6 that I had in the nominees, I gave a 8.5 or higher score, 85 out of 100 or higher. Just great developments in the story and the characters in terms of how satisfying reveals and build-ups, how satisfying reveals and payoffs were. Just a great lineup of 6, but Kaguya, I think, reigns supreme. With sequel out of the way, we're at the big guns. What sequel am I looking forward to the most for this year? That is a good question. I know Attack on Titan is supposed to end. Will it become Attack on Titan, final season, part 3, part 2, chapter 8, verse 7? I don't know if, I think it will actually end this year. I think they're finally done cutting it into these weird, smaller pieces. So I'm looking forward to that, but I've heard the ending is a little contentious. Kaguya has a movie sequel, which I have read ahead in the manga for, so I know what's going to happen in that. What else is there? Sequel, what? Demon Slayer has a sequel coming that should be good. It seems like Demon Slayer, they're going to just do like a different Hashira in each arc. Like, is that how it works? What else is coming? D4DJ Season 2, I think I mentioned earlier. I love Season 1. I haven't started Season 2. I know it's airing right now. Ancient Magus's Bride Season 2 is also this year. Vinland Saga Season 2 is airing. Haven't started that yet. Looking forward to that. So there's a lot. I would say I'm definitely curious about how Attack on Titan ends. And Vinland Saga Season 2. I know it's very different from Season 1 from what I've heard, but and of course the Kaguya movie. I really want them to announce another season. There's still a lot of stuff to adapt, but what about you? Anything really piquing your interest from the big sequels? Until then, we're at the big guns. Anime of the year. The final award. Attack on Titan for sure. Yeah. That's... I think it's, what? It's supposed to be 2-hour-long specials or something like that. And the first one is next month? It should be good. I'm definitely interested. my previous winners. Anime of the year. Would you look at that? 2018, 19, and 21 are all my previous best drama winners. A Place Further Than the Universe. That's in my number 5 of all time. Vinland Saga and Fruits Basket are both in my top 10. Great Pretender is kind of an outlier. I gave that the Anime of the Award. I almost thought about putting an asterisk next to it on this sheet because it's definitely not my Anime of the Year in hindsight. I still liked it, but just the more I think about it, the more I wish I gave it to Fate Babylonia or D4DJ. I think those were stronger. I still liked it, you know, again, don't get me wrong. But every time I look at my past awards and I see that, I'm like, yeah, I should have thought about that a little more. Mostly because of the final arc and how that went. But it's time for Anime of the Year. I always like doing a little spectacle of this to build up into it, so enjoy the intro to Anime of the Year, and here are the nominees. I'm gonna make you wait a little bit. I can't go right into who the winner was. No. I forgot to mention it, but I slightly changed how I picked the nominees. I decided that only the winner of Best Sequel, only that sequel would be allowed. Because I thought, what's the point of putting other sequels in there? Like, you already know I didn't think it was better than that sequel, so it's obviously not going to win overall. So, it's 5 brand new series, and the 1 sequel that wins Best Sequel, which was Kaguya. Hence, no Attack on Titan or Vanitas, even though Vanitas obviously won a number of awards. And Attack on Titan, I'm obviously down bad for that series in general. What do you think, chat? Any predictions? Anime of the year? I believe Summertime Rendering had 4 wins. Best Story, Suspense, Antagonist, and Couple. Kaguya had 4 wins. Best Sequel, Episode, Guy, and Cast. Bocchi won Best Comedy, and it got nominated for other stuff. Rendering had a ton of nominations. Cyberpunk won Best Action, Insert Use, Animation, Character Design. Spy Family with Best Opening, and nominated for a number of other things. And Pompo with Best Movie, and I spent a long time talking about that one, nominated for other stuff. I don't know. Any of them stand out? This is the one that I think is going to win. This is the one that should win. still makes me laugh every time I look at myself on the stream and I see the mouth opening and closing when I drink. That's so good. All right. If no predictions, I'll play the nominees one more time, and then we'll go into the reveal. I can't help but playing the nominees a second time. I know, I already played it, but I really like how I do the syncing with the music and the build-up. It feels hyped to me. I get hyped watching it. So here we go. Nominees, one more time, and then the winner. And the winner of Anime of the Year is Bocchi the Rock. It's been roughly 10 years since I started watching anime, and in all that time, I honestly can't remember the last time I had this much pure, genuine fun watching one. Though the comparisons to K-On! Were inevitable, Bocchi the Rock is more than just another girl band show. It's one of the most creative series I've seen. It's chock full of often surprising but always entertaining cuts and changes in art style, from the actual art to the character designs and animation to even the plane of existence. It's obvious the staff working on the anime were passionate about it, and all this love and care was abundantly clear when watching it. Bocchi herself was a fantastic lead. As someone who'd also described themselves as a ball of anxiety, I could relate to Bocchi in more ways than one, and I loved watching her slowly but surely start to come out of her shell and work toward her dream of being in a band. The incredibly expressive character animation made all of her delusions and reactions even better, and it lent itself perfectly to the comedy, which may very well be some of the funniest I've seen. Between the animation, the standout performances from the voice actors, Bocchi's reactions to things, the random references, and the varied dynamics between the members of the cast, just about every episode had me bursting out laughing at something, which made it even more fun to watch. There are plenty of other great things I could go on and on about too. The heartwarming moments as the girls in Kasoku Band grow closer and support one another, the memorable character designs, the great music and insert scenes, and the poignant themes of friendship, self-improvement, and how music can bring people together and change lives. From its very first episode, I had a feeling Bocchi the Rock would be something special, and after finishing it, that feeling was confirmed. It's a series that brought me a ton of fun, laughs, and pure enjoyment every week, to the point I was sad when the final credits rolled because I wanted more and more of it. Bocchi the Rock is an engaging, heartwarming, technically phenomenal, and wonderfully creative anime that I absolutely loved, and I don't think I'll ever forget just how much fun I had watching it. Bocchi the Rock isn't just my anime of the year, it's one of my favorite anime of all time. Bocchi! Yes, your guess was right, May. Nice. I gave Bocchi a 10 out of 10. I haven't given a show a 10 for 3.5 years prior to that. I'm very, very tough with my 10s. And Bocchi got it. Just an absolutely, completely phenomenal series. I need more Bocchi. It's selling so well in Japan. The manga is on like its 16th reprint or something like that. The Blu-rays were like 10 to 15 times what Chainsaw Man was selling. It's all over Twitter and social media. Like, I feel like this is the most slam dunk for a season 2. I need this to happen. What an incredible series. Man. I was, as much as I loved Bocchi, I was torn between it and Summertime Render. I didn't give it to Bocchi right away. And then Kaguya and Pompo were like just one step below those two. Man, yeah, like I said at the very start, 2022 was such an incredible year for anime. And Bocchi really capped it off, airing in the fall. I think it ended on like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. That scene, I included it in the editing part, but the scene in episode 12 where she enters the store for a new guitar and she's just like spinning her head around really fast with her hair going like she's headbanging. I laughed so hard. I almost had to pause it because, oh my god, I fucking love that scene. It's so good. Yeah, we do all want a season 2. That's for sure. Out of everything, like, not including the stuff that already has sequels announced, if I only look at shows that I've watched that don't have sequels, Bocchi is so far ahead of the rest in terms of how bad I want more. If people are curious, I do have my ranked top 10 list of the year. Ranking of Kings at 10. Made in Abyss Season 2 at 9, which kind of surprised me because I almost considered dropping it around like episode 4 or 5. But I ended up deciding not to, and the second half was really good. So, if other people were in the same boat, I would recommend sticking through. Cyberpunk at number 8. Like I said, since sequels didn't, Attack on Titan and Vanitas are above Cyberpunk and Spy Family, but Cyberpunk and Spy Family got in because those two weren't eligible since Kaguya already won. So Cyberpunk at 8, Spy Family at 7, Case Study of Vanitas Part 2 at 6, Attack on Titan at 5, Pompo 4, Kaguya 3, Summertime Rendering 2, and Bocchi number 1, 10 out of 10, and my anime of the year. I have not updated my top 25 list. I've been holding off until after I do awards. So, I'll be curious to see where these place. I did say Bocchi is one of my favorite anime of all time. I anticipate it being in my top 10. I just need to spend some time thinking about where it will be in that top 10. Summertime Rendering could very well hit the top 10. Kaguya could very well hit the top 10. I think I have it at like 15 or 14 right now, and that was before Season 3. And Season 3 was the best one yet. So, Pompo, probably top 15. If not, then top 20. Attack on Titan I already have in my top 10. I think Made in Abyss I have in my top 25. I don't know if that'll move around at all. Spy Family, Cyberpunk, Vanitas, Ranking of Kings, not sure yet. Really need to spend some time thinking about it. We have a similar top 5, just haven't seen Pompo. You definitely gotta watch Pompo. It's only an hour and a half, so it's a pretty easy watch, all things considered. I really don't like long movies, and that's actually a point that they make at the start of the movie. They specifically say like 90 minutes is the perfect movie length. It's the sweet spot. It's not too long, people don't get bored. It's not too short and make you want more. Like, it's the perfect length to tell a satisfying story. And it's a little meta that they say that in the movie, and then the movie itself is 90 minutes long. I'm sure that was a joke that they had when they were making it. But it's true. It's a 90-minute movie that was a very easy watch. It's a very concise and satisfying story. So, and it'll be good. I know Made in Abyss has another sequel announced. Ranking of Kings has the spin-off announced. Spy Family has a sequel announced. Attack on Titan has a sequel. Kaguya has a sequel. Rendering and Pompo are both complete. Cyberpunk is complete. Bochi should get a sequel. It needs to get a sequel. I will spend every night going to bed wishing that it gets a sequel. But like I said at the beginning of the awards, 2022, just an absolutely phenomenal year for anime all around. I feel very lucky to be an anime fan during what I genuinely do feel like this is a golden age, with every year getting better than it was before. So many consistently amazing shows. Just, I'm glad to be an anime fan with the amount of quality stuff we get. All that being said, it is now 2 hours and 36 minutes since this stream started. 2 hours, 37 minutes. I know we had some technical mishaps at the start. Thank you for sticking through and enduring those with me. I'm glad it all ended up working out and we were able to have my award show together. I hope it was enjoyable. I know this was a different experience with it being live streamed instead of a pre-recorded thing. New for me too. Not used to talking and for so much in between each category compared to the more concise pre-recorded stuff, but I enjoyed it. So thank you for being active in chat. It's always fun seeing what people think about winners and predictions and engaging. Thank you for sitting through such a long show at 2.5 hours. This was a fun stream. I am glad to hear it. Thank you, May. I appreciate it. This is all I had prepared. So that marks the end of the award show. Thank you, like I said, for coming to the stream, for sticking through it, for how long it was, for engaging, and for entertaining me going on and rambling about all the anime I liked for the last year. I'm sure we have another great year coming up between the sequels and all the new shows. I know there's some issues with delays in Japan right now because of COVID and outsourcing issues and whatnot. Hopefully that gets turned around, but given the trajectory we're on, it should be a great year. Thank you for the great stream, Leo. Thank you for attending, Sir Ligma. Every time I see the name Sir Ligma, it makes me chuckle. That's a great name. And Okabe in the chat, my #1 protagonist. It's nice to see that. So, I won't keep you any longer. 2 hours and 40 minutes was long enough. Again, one more time, thank you very much for coming to the award stream. I really appreciate you sitting through the whole thing and sticking with me through it and all the technical difficulties at the beginning, and I hope the rest of you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun trying to guess the award winners and seeing who the winners were and hearing why I thought that was the case. This is all very much a big passion project for me just because I like the medium so much and everything, so it means a lot to have people come and watch it all. As usual, I will be reachable on the normal social media things. I'll be active on Twitter. I will be streaming more. Definitely we'll have some stuff coming up this week if you're interested in games at all. Nothing on the scale of my anime award show, but just hanging out and chilling. If not, I hope you have a good night, a good day, good afternoon, wherever you are, depending on your time zone. One more time, thank you for coming, and I will see you next time.